And welcome everyone to another OSR tabletop with myself, DM Bloodworth, or GM Bloodworth in this case, because I'm going to be talking about a number of different game systems. So I will adopt the title of Game Master for those purposes. Thanks a lot for those that are already viewing and watching along, and you're of course welcome to jump in the comments section and say hello to everyone. Sorry about that. Let's see, boom, fix that. It always happens. For some reason, even if you think you muted it, you haven't. That's just so I can jump on over and give out some free memberships. I usually give out the 5 at the beginning half of the month, and then the final 5 I will be giving out on March 31st, which happens to be my birthday. But I'm also going to have a special guest, an interview on March 31st as well. So really looking forward to that. And I will be talking about my upcoming interviews, some of the Kickstarters that I have backed, and then the upcoming conventions that I am certainly planning on going to, bar any kind of an emergency which prevents me from doing so. But these are all local conventions, or fairly local conventions, and so I fully intend to go to them. So the OSR State of the Game, and this is pretty much for myself in particular. So what have been the first 2.5 months of Q1 of 2025 for me, as far as OSR or independent gaming is concerned, both convention-wise and and in my own home gaming as well. So, the year started off with a real big bang with Page 2, and I've spoken a number of times on the channel about the Philadelphia Area Game Expo, second year of it. I was invited as a special guest, which was a great honor. And I tried to make the most of that by running 3 games. I ran 3 games of Shadow Dark, and Shadow Dark is going to be prominently spoken about during this live stream as well. But I met some really great people that I've either never met before or had only just heard of recently, and so it was great to meet them as well. So a number of legendary game designers, Frank Metzner, which I met last year in great quantity last year. Spent a lot of time talking to him and played in his game last year, so I got a chance to see him again. I also met a bunch of other YouTubers and had long conversations with them as well. And when I say YouTubers, I don't mean YouTubers my size of channel. I'm talking about, people like Professor Dungeon Master, or Ben Milton from Questing Beast, or Baron DeRop from, and it just slipped my mind. I'm throwing off too many of them. Stephen Glicker, and, as well as others as well. So bunch of people thrown in there that I've never met before. Lord Gasamba from, and of course, Joseph Block from Greyhawk Grognard. So tons of people that I met there. I didn't get to meet or the opportunity to meet Bob Worldbuilder. Of course, met Kelsey Dion, which was a phenomenal meeting that we had, and got some autographs on my 2 copies of Shadow Dark. And she stopped by my table when I was running Shadow Dark, and so it was a really treat to meet her and to speak with her, on at least two separate occasions. So that was really nice as well. And then once the convention was over, I started looking at, well, what is my gaming going to look like for 2025? And if you've been following my channel, you know that I recently, just this past Friday, started a new AD&D First Edition campaign. This was specifically for players who have either never played AD&D before, First Edition before, or had very, very little experience with it. Or I do have one member who was playing in some of my other games, including my Shadow Dark game. And when those games came to an end for a variety of reasons, he asked if he could join this one, and I certainly wanted to let him in on this particular campaign that we're going to be running. And I intend to run this for quite a long time. So we're talking about a campaign that will last months, if not years. And so I'm really looking forward to that. Let me jump in the chat and see who is already here. And as always, Ducato, hey, how's it going? Good to see you. And then we'll get to, and I will be seeing Ducato at a few of the conventions that I'm going to. So that's going to be great to once again see him in person, and maybe we'll get some gaming done together as well. If not some drinks as well. Especially the third convention I'm going to, because they had an awesome 2-bar setups over at the VFW for ShireCon. So looking forward to that. Chris, hey, how's it going? Good to see you. Thanks for stopping in. Tandemar, good to see you as well. So so this was kind of an impromptu live stream that I wanted to do. I wanted to kind of get into context my first 3 months of the year and the state of the OSR, gaming, and for me, it's I'm firing up a new, or have fired up a new AD&D First Edition campaign that I certainly anticipate playing that or running that for quite some time. As I already mentioned, I moved my regular Castles and Crusades game. That is Tuesday night, and these are with my players that have been with me for a little over 3 years now. And I moved them from Castles and Crusades over to Amazing Adventures, and so far that's going pretty well. We're into our second week of game sessions for that, so really excited about that. It's nice to get a pace change with both system and and genre of gaming. So that's something else I'm looking to really expand upon for the remainder of 2025, is to consistently run some other genres of gaming, and so that's another thing on my agenda. I do want to get back to running some Shadow Dark, and I'm going to continue tweaking my adventure that I have been running, the Shards of Ymir, that I've run 7 times now at conventions. And I'm getting ready to finalize it and get it ready for, print ready. And the last time that I'll be running that adventure is at ShireCon in 2025. That will be in September. And so once that is done, I am going to shelve it for the remainder of 2025, and then I will start writing for my own adventures for 2026 moving forward. So anyway, I have a lot going on. There's a lot going on with the OSR, and looking at its convention, representation at conventions for things like Shadow Dark, obviously, and then other game systems as well, are really starting to populate those tables at conventions. And it really is an exciting time for the OSR and the independent gaming area. I'm going to be highlighting some of my local gaming shops, which I really have. I only have two local gaming shops and then one comic book shop that really focuses like 95% on comic books. But I believe he does have some gaming materials and some gaming going on there as well. So I am going to be highlighting those three stores over the next couple of weeks. I am going to be approaching them because I just received my flyers. I've had the flyers since page 2 for the Central New York role-playing game convention. This is going to be on June 14th through 15th from 2025, obviously. And that's up near Utica, New York. So that's coming up. But before that, I have AutoCon 4. Now, that is a tiny convention. About 50 people were there last year. So, and very local for me, only 7 minutes away. And I'm going to have Fred, that is the organizer of that convention, on my channel March 31st. So really looking forward to that. Going to start pushing that convention pretty hard over the next couple of weeks, and also at those local gaming shops. So Fred, if you are listening or you do end up watching this video or this live stream, just be on the lookout that I'm going to be driving as many people over there to buy up tickets and badges, just to really make it big. And then if you if you need any assistance kind of organizing that or whatnot, just reach out to me. I'm certainly make myself available to assist you and your wife Mary any way that I can. So really looking forward to taking on a bigger role than just running something at your game convention. I'd also like to assist in helping it grow, because it is, again, the most local convention for me. Going on, let's see. So Central New York ShireCon, as I mentioned, is in September 26th and 27th. I've already spoken to Tom, and Tom is also going to come onto the channel and kind of trump up the numbers again. Once it hits tabletop events. Sorry, I had just got an eBay thing, so I'm expecting some new stuff coming in through eBay. I just got a little alert from eBay. But anyway, once it hits tabletop events, I will then bring Tom on so that we can talk about ticket sales and what else is going to go into it. He was in the planning stages. He was recently on my channel for a live stream talking about the convention, and I certainly encourage you to check out that previous live stream to see what else he was talking about. But yeah, so my conventions, those three are my focus for the remainder of the year and 2025, and then we'll see what I start plotting out for 2026 as well. Hey, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, the difference between Western Connecticut, which is, I guess, the same place where ShireCon is, yeah, those two are so close together. I mean, it's less than an hour away. So if you're living in Western Connecticut, where ShireCon is, that's literally 55 minutes from Pleasant Valley, which is where AutoCon 4 is. So yeah, it would be great to see you there, and be sure to find me. I will be there. I will be running. I'll be running Shadow Dark there, and yeah, definitely jump on over, and it'll be great to see you. And try to get to ShireCon as well, because that is in Canaan, Connecticut. So yeah, good to see you, and will be great to see you there. Moving on, so interviews. So I have a couple of interviews that I'm working on putting together. So as I mentioned let me try to put them in order. So on March 13th, I'm going to have Roger from Central New York RPG Con. He's going to come on the channel. We're going to talk a little bit more about where things are starting to look at. So I like to hit these conventions about 3 months out and then maybe 1 month out. That way, we're getting a real, much more focused view on how things are shaping up for these conventions. So that's on the 13th. On the 31st, Fred Quenzer from AutoCon will be on my channel. This is AutoCon 4, so the 4th year of it. And so Fred will come on the channel and we'll talk about, everything new for that convention. And I will see, hopefully it'll be, start, it's been exponentially growing the last couple of years. This will be my 3rd time going. And it should be breaking that 100 mark fairly soon, possibly even this year. So we'll see. Like I said, it's a small convention, but growing, and looking forward to that. Then I'm going to reach out to Matt D'Amico. So Matt D'Amico has been on the channel before. He currently has a Kickstarter. I'm going to talk about that as well. And I'm going to bring Matt on during the course of his Kickstarter, sometime within the next 2 weeks or so. So I definitely want to bring him in on that. I've also spoken to, although I don't have a day, or time set up, but I'm going to be bringing on Benoit Perrault, who worked on Memorial Tomb with Ernie Gygax Jr. And if you don't know already, although most of my viewers probably do, Ernie passed away just a few days ago, and it was, very shocking for many of us. And, and I think it's really important that, we spend some time remembering all of the contributions that he made to the hobby. And I'm looking forward to bringing on Benoit so that he can talk about not just the all that went into bringing Memorial Tomb to its physical form and into our hands, but also what it was like to be working with Ernie so closely together on such a big project as a mega dungeon. And so really looking forward to interviewing him. And he's been Benoit's been within the hobby for going all the way back to the very beginning, or thereabouts. And so it'll be great to have him on. He's a true old schooler. And so that's going to be something else that I'm going to try to do more and more during the course of this year, is to get as many of those, legendary creators onto this channel, and just talking about, what was it like to, work in TSR back in the day, and, what are some of their experiences. I have a friend online who was one of my players for over 3 years. And he worked for TSR back then as well. And so I will certainly bring Kelly Foote on to my channel. He's welcome to come on anytime and talk about his experience with TSR. And that's something that I will also set up, to have him come on, and we can talk about his experience with TSR and his current gaming that he has going on right now, and what his plans are moving forward as well. So let's see. Let's show off some Kickstarter news. So let's get to my Kickstarter news here, and let's share screen. All right. So these are my backed projects. And like I said, it's very heavy Shadow Dark right now. And we'll see as the year goes along. But and let's see if I get them in their order. So Creating Monsters for Shadow Dark. It's a zine with a mini bestiary. And this I literally just backed about 10 minutes ago. I was just coming through because I wanted to see, well, what is Shadow Dark looking like as far as upcoming upcoming Kickstarters are concerned. And I saw this one only had 8 hours to go, and I started looking at it and saw that it is actually being run by the person that contacted me or actually responded to my request to interview Kelsey Dion. And so it's put together by Michael Putlak. And, so as soon as I saw that he was associated with it, and I read the breakdown of it and saw that it's a system on how to create monsters for Shadow Dark. And it comes with several, obviously some already prearranged monster blocks for you, and then goes through the whole system on how to create your own or adapting monsters from other game systems to this as well. So I backed it here at the Get Everything. So $22, total $30. And that includes a physical copy of it, and then all of the zines and everything that goes along with it. So looking forward to it. And that's the first one that that's the first one ending very, very soon, later on today. Then the next one coming up is March 8th. And this again is a Shadow Dark zine, and number of different adventures herein. So really looking forward to it. This is by Jeremy Hart. I guess that's Eos, Eos. I'm not exactly sure how that's pronounced, but you can see some like really weird looking creatures and everything. And this, I believe, came in two different. No, this is all Shadow Dark. So Volume 2, all Shadow Dark. Volume 1 was a mix of different. I believe that might have been OSE. So this is Volume 2. So I backed this, and I backed this at. It's not scrolling for me. I backed this at the $5 mark. I just wanted the portfolio, the PDF version of it. And then finally, let's hope I don't take myself all the way out. And then Cult of the Winged Skull. So this one here, I backed, and this is created by Cranky Clydesdale Publishing. So this is Matt D'Amico, and looking forward to chatting with him and talking about this while it is still running. So this still has 27 days to go. So definitely going to bring him on, and we'll talk about this. I, of course, backed it at the $30 pledge, which is going to get which is going to get me the physical copy plus the PDFs and everything. And this one just launched, all right, or probably about a day ago. It just launched. So it has a 6,000 goal. So hopefully we'll get it there in the next couple of days. So anyway, let me get to, let me stop sharing. And there was a lot more in there. When you go into Kickstarter and you just hit you just type in Shadow Dark and you hit search, there's a slew of it. So, as I said, I mean, the OSR, the state of the gaming, OSR gaming in 2025 so far has been really big. And when I look at the conventions that already have events set up, and if you type in searches for either Shadow Dark or OSR in general, and you'll start to see how many tables are literally filling up with both old school stuff like AD&D First Edition. I see a lot of Second Edition games going on there as well, and then you'll see things like Shadow Dark or OSE or Castles and Crusades had made a big presence over at Page 2, and I'm anticipating seeing them at other conventions and really pushing both Troll Lord Games in general, really pushing Castles and Crusades as well as Amazing Adventures. And then with all of the Gary Gygax rollout that they're getting from the Gary Gygax estate, you're going to see a lot more of Gary's works coming out in the weeks and months ahead as they start finalizing a lot of their Kickstarters that have been going on for close to a year or so. And so as those start shipping, because a lot of them were kind of delayed once the Gary Gygax estate stuff started hitting, and they kind of shifted gears and started getting that stuff out as quickly as they can, to show that this is something that people really want. That it's really high in demand, and I've heard a lot of mentions of other things from Gary Gygax that like his the novels that they had once, the Gord novels that at one time Troll Lord Games was publishing. And so any of the things that Troll Lord Games had published in the past by Gary Gygax that is the materials that they're going to be able to republish at this point. And then anything that Gary Gygax had not published, and so it wasn't part of TSR and now owned by Wizards of the Coast, any of those things might actually see the light of day for the first time, and that's what I think many of us are also hoping to see as well. So yeah, it's going to be a great year for Troll Lord Games. It's going to be a great year for Arcane Library and Shadow Dark, and it's going to be a great year for those of us old school dungeon masters that are, I think, introducing modern players to some of the older systems, the older editions of Dungeons and Dragons. So really excited about checking that out as well. So, hey, Ironcaster, how's it going? It amazes me how WotC is so hard-pressed against Gary Gygax to this day. You'd think they would have wanted to cut a fat check and slap the name on products for its recognizable importance on D&D. Yeah, it's just, I think it comes mostly out of jealousy, in the fact that they just can't capture that same lightning in the bottle, and they never have been able to. Now, people will argue, oh, they sell more, and that they've made it more popular than it ever was before, but they never match the quality of it, and that's my argument, is that it never captured that true essence of Dungeons and Dragons. So what people are playing oftentimes is just a misunderstanding of what it was to play Dungeons and Dragons. And it's not even the Dungeons and Dragons that you see being played on Stranger Things is the real Dungeons and Dragons. You're not seeing it, the way that it kind of is run now. You're seeing it the way it was run back then. And so to even make the claim that, oh, well, Stranger Things has opened up everyone to modern Dungeons and Dragons. No, I mean, that's what they shouldn't be taking away from it. They should be taking away from it that, hey, that's the edition of Dungeons and Dragons I want to play. That's, when they first started that, season one, they were playing, it was 1983, they were set. So they were playing AD&D first edition. And that's the edition that people should be. If they're a Stranger Things fan and they want to play Dungeons and Dragons because they're a Stranger Things fan, then they should be playing AD&D first edition. I'm not even going to say that's in my humble opinion or anything like that. No, that's what they should be playing if they're brought to the game from Stranger Things. They should be looking to play that edition that they're playing, and playing very well in representing the way that the gameplay was, back in the day. That's what they should be playing. Yeah, it's corporations don't always do the smart thing to do. They're so worried about, picking up the pennies that they missed the dollars flying over their head, as the expression goes. And, I think it generally comes out of embarrassment, because if they, let's say they re-released, the first edition stuff, or even the second edition stuff, and put it back to print again. I honestly believe it would outsell 2020, 2024 D&D. And even though you could still go on drive through and still get the reprints and everything, no, I mean genuinely going back and keeping the rules of the way they were, and just reformatting it, and doing a new layout, and possibly even updating. I'd be scared to say updating the art, because they would probably just replace it with AI art. But even maintaining the same art, and just putting it out in a better way of laying it out, and making the rules line up more easy to run, then I think it would outsell, because overall it was a better game system when it was AD&D first edition or second edition. They just make his footprint and significance grow regardless. Yeah, it's true, because in my experience, I've introduced, I want to say, about 24 modern players, maybe even close to 30 modern players that had never played D&D BX, with BECMI is what I was running at the time, or AD&D, and they never played them before. They've only played 5e. And when I brought them over to those older editions, only 2 out of the 30 expressed, the desire to go back to 5e, because they just preferred that better. All the other ones have been like, hey, this is really cool. This is what I really thought it was supposed to be, or I'm just having such a great time. I had some players that were like, wow, I played this when I was younger, and this is the first time that I feel like I'm playing Dungeons and Dragons again. So those are returning people that were like, oh, I just missed this. And it's not just out of nostalgia that I say it. It's out of the fact that, I honestly believe that AD&D first edition is a better edition. The rule sets are better. They might not be the easiest to run the game, but comparing it to the complexity of running 5e, I think that 1e is easier to run than 5e is. I just find you can be a lot more creative with it as well. There's less rules involved with the player action economy and whatnot, so it leaves a lot more room for players to think about their characters, and to role play their characters, and to do things that are outside of the cookie cutter, because the characters are so simple, in comparison, that it just leaves more room for that. Yeah, I mean, that's a real easy thing to do as well, is to convert them over to BECMI, because BECMI is just awesome. And it's certainly a great, it's probably the best tabletop role-playing game to introduce new players to the hobby. Not to mention the best to introduce them to Dungeons and Dragons. But I think as the hobby overall, I think that is the gold standard of introducing new players to the hobby. Period. I don't even qualify that with an opinion. I don't see how anybody can disagree with that. So let's see. Just looking through some of the other comments that I might have missed. Yes, 1E is more malleable than 5E, because it leaves a lot of gaps in it that you can choose as a dungeon master, or players can suggest or whatever, and it leaves much more room for it. I've used the example. Um, I used the example of creating a player character, a fighter, and I made that fighter double specialized with belaying pins, so the club basically. And 9 out of 10 times, nobody would ever think of going that far outside the box. I'm not just being a fighter, sword and board, and wearing that heavy armor and going forward like that. But it just wasn't what concept of a character I came up with as I was randomly creating this character. And I was like, this is what I want to encourage my new players now to really do, is to think beyond what the character sheet is. And you can do that more so with systems that are rules light, which a majority of OSR games are. And and it's just a I think a better way of playing and a better way of running a tabletop role-playing game. I've got a couple of players looking to pick up the OSC books after I started running it for them. Yeah, and those are really nice books. At the time, I didn't back the OSC because, to be honest with you, and I've said this a number of times too, that Kickstarter was in September, and that's when my property taxes hit. That's when my oil catch up, for the year hits as well. And and so it was already a month where I had to shell out technically about $12,000 for everything. And I don't back anything Kickstarter wise in September. So it was just poor timing for that. And I was like, I really don't have the $120, I think it was at the time, to back this at this time. So, and I still haven't, I have the PDFs for the advanced OSC, but I've never bought beyond the PDFs of the advanced. I hear Dragon Slayer is really awesome. I am going to buy Dragon Slayer RPG when I go to Central New York RPG. So when I go to that convention, Greg Gillespie is going to be there, and I'm going to buy his book when I get there. And then I'll invite him on the channel so we can talk about that, because I know I've not really spoken to him directly, but I've asked several questions on some of the channels when he was being interviewed, and I basically said, "Well, sell me on this game," and none of the other people interviewing him or whatnot, like I said, I never directly spoke to him, but they couldn't sell me on the game other than saying it's a combination of Holmes and AD&D First Edition. I said, well, I own Holmes and I own AD&D First Edition, so why don't I just homebrew it myself and combine the two myself? But it is a very popular system out there. I think not quite at the OSE level, and certainly not at the Shadow Dark level, but I am going to give it a good, real close look at that convention and make that decision at the time. I'm planning on buying it there. So I'm also thinking about picking up Dragonbane, and Dragonbane is actually on sale at my local gaming shop, and so I might pick it up there. It has the starter box there. So if anyone has that and you're familiar with that, just let me know if it was worth buying to get the starter box, or should I just get the full game instead. So, but I kind of like the starter boxes because they include a lot of other little things that are nice to put out there on the table. Another really popular system. Dragonbane is very popular at least online. You certainly see it. See a lot of people talk about it, people running it and whatnot. I will have to look to see how much it's being played at conventions. I have a feeling that it's probably here or there, but again, not at the same level as Shadow Dark has been overtaking the convention scene. Let me, while I have you all here, the box is the full game, not a starter. All right, well, so then what's the point in getting the hardcover? Yeah, what's the point in getting the hardcover then? Because if that's the case, then I can get the full game at, I can get the full game and just the starter set. Yeah, Ducato, I know you run it. Let me put out these the first 5 freebies here. Where'd you go? Here you are. And there we go. So let's see who are our lucky 5 winners here. I recognize at least one of these other games, that one of these other people that have gotten it before. I remember Simon Templar had received it once before. But anyway, congratulations to those that have received it, received a free membership. And membership has its privileges. You get to join in and you get to join in on my Discord, and you get to jump in on any of my games when I have openings. I know I have at least one member who has asked to be take up like an NPC position on my AD&D First Edition, and I said I'll certainly consider, letting you do that and take over a everything. The box set is a better deal. All right, thank you. Yeah, so that's what I'll do. I'll get the box set instead. If it's a full game, then I don't need the hardcover. Has an adventure location in it. Okay. Don't need that, I guess. Okay. All right, guys. Well, thanks a lot. Yeah. What I'll do is when I go to that local store, in order to, entice them to, because I want to make sure that they not only support the local conventions that are, around here, obviously, but I also want to, make sure that I can promote their stores at the conventions as well. So hopefully they have some like little mini flyers. These things are really cool. If you're a convention goer, or if you're a convention organizer, you should definitely look into making these little index card size advertisements. And, I'm putting them out there. Central New York's is really cool because it has it has the red box motif on it. And then, it has all of the details, on the back here. The ShireCon one, just has the location and the date. Like I said, it's not on tabletop events yet, so you can't start submitting games for running it and or registering for purchasing badges or whatnot. So that should be coming up fairly soon. I believe Tom said sometime in March he's planning on getting that started up. So anyway, yes. Agranac Studios. I hope I pronounced that right. Hey, how's it going? Good to see you here. And box set is wonderful. Yeah, I'm going to definitely pick it up at my local store. I think it was only like $47 or something like that. It was definitely maybe a little bit more expensive than getting it, but it's not shipping and handling. So that probably covers the shipping and handling anyway. So yeah. I will definitely look to get it, there and see. So anyway, so pretty much that is my, that is my thing. Good to hear. Love your content. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. And I've just been recently looking at some other things. Like they have some other features on YouTube now where it says, that's an interesting thing to bring up. Let me see if I can get back to that. Um, it's like when you're putting up content, it gives you content suggestions, and all of my content suggestions, and it's based on the algorithm, and it's based on what people have been watching on my channel. And it was saying like the next thing that I should talk about is AD&D First Edition, the deities of AD&D First Edition, and so going through that content and how you, I'm guessing how I would integrate that for AD&D for the modern player and introduce them to some of those. So that's probably the next video that I'm going to do in that series, is talking about integrating the deities, not just the deities of Greyhawk, but I have both books of deities and demigods, and so I'm going to break out the first one, the first printing of it, and just talk about that, and just go in length about talking about the variety of different deities and mythologies that they do have in there, and then I'll start focusing on the deities of Greyhawk. So that will be probably a two-parter when I start talking about AD&D First Edition deities and how to integrate them into my new campaign. So and then I created some of my own deities for my new campaign as well. So I do have a couple that are essentially they're quasi deities that have elevated or ascended beyond that status during the Greyhawk War, and so that's some of the new ones that I will be introducing the player characters or player party in my campaign 2 along the way as well. So if anyone else has seen any other new game content out there that you would categorize as either OSR or independent games, please let me know. And I would definitely like to take a look at some of those. And if anyone's working on anything, you're welcome to come on the channel and talk, about that as well. You want to, talk about your Kickstarter just as it's launching, or somewhere in its midway or near the last couple of days of it, feel free to just reach out to me and say, hey, I'd like to come on the channel and talk about my game. Or like I said, if you know any other, games out there, I look forward to, hearing about those, and I'll take a look at them. I know I was watching Ben Milton on Questing Beast earlier, where he was talking about a bunch of games that people just sent him in the mail. And a couple of them actually look very, very interesting. And I'll certainly, probably come around to taking a look at some of those as, as the time goes on, and as I get past my convention season and get really more in the middle ground there. I recently made some big purchases for my tabletop role playing, and so I'll take a couple weeks or a month or so for me to be able to start backing more stuff going forward. So I know, Ducato, you're probably kind of privy to. There is a new a Neo TTRPG out there, but I'm not. I'm not going to dabble into it. I'm not even going to get into that at all. So I'm going to avoid that. That whole drama fest revolving around that, especially since I haven't seen any reason to either buy it or to attack it, let's say. So I'm just going to let that one slide. And I don't know if anybody else is also aware of what I'm talking about. I'm kind of veiling it a little bit because I really don't want the stuff. Have you checked out Black Sword Hack? Well, the Black Hack was a lot of what Bloat Games built his game around. His Survive This series around. So I'm familiar with Black Hack, but Black Sword Hack. Let me take a look and see. So Black Sword Hack. A game by Kobayashi made with the Black Hack. Yeah, so I'm familiar with the Black Hack. Looking at it here, I'm assuming it's not in French, even though the author is French. So let's see. Soft cover with PDF is only $19. Soft cover black and white is $14. All right, so with color is 19 and black and white 14. That's not bad. How many pages is it? It is 75 pages. It's kind of short. It uses the Black Hack second edition as a foundation and adds a few tweaks. It's got some pretty decent reviews. A couple 5 stars, a couple 4 stars, a 2-star, 1 3-star. Most by purchasers, so that's always good to see. That's the one thing, as someone who has stuff on drive-through, I can't rate anybody. I can't rate the products, even the products that I bought. So Murray Mushman using Black Hack engine. All right. Yeah, but that's it. Yeah, it looks pretty good. I mean, just looking at what it is, and I look at the price of the if it comes in soft cover, I'll always pick up soft cover before I get hard cover. Shelf space is the issue, and then but I'll check it out. I'll see if I can I'll take a look at the previews of it a little bit later on and check that out and see if it's something I might dive into. Not right now, though. Not for the next couple of weeks. Certainly looking to get a little more gaming in. I got to get some writing in. Like I said, I have to tweak that one adventure and get that ready for publishing. And also, I want to submit that for a contest at ShireCon. So want to try to work that out and get it finalized in different formats, because I have it on index card right now, and I would still want to make that available, but I also want to do it as a regular PDF, and then I want to see in booklet form if I do go print on demand with it, or just make printed copies of it. And that'll be a big conversation I have with Tom Wilson from ShireCon, because he does a lot of that stuff, and I'd love to work with him on getting that done. Also, I started looking at some of my older projects that I was working on. Back in 2019, I was working on a pirate themed, almost like a simulation RPG, and started looking at that. Started looking at the 8 pages of rules that I had already written for it, and started trying to get a sense of how much more in depth do I need to go with it, which is probably quite a bit more. Actually, I'm probably only about 1/3 to 1/4 done with where I can see the rule system going, and I'll probably start spending a little bit of time just tweaking on that. I mean, it's literally sat dormant for over 2 years. And like I said, I originally started writing it in 2019. So it's been sitting around for, 5 years in all. And so older projects, I have a basement full of older projects. Yeah, I have tons of things. I have a file folder. called Writing Projects, and and it literally has it probably has about 3 dozen different different projects in there in various stages of 1% to probably as much as 25-30%. I don't mean adventures I can write fairly quickly, but it's just like all starters and little things that some game systems and the rest are just just ideas on different little files there. So yeah, older projects is it's really it's really like a dilemma for me, because I start looking at them, I start working at them, and I'm kind of like the attention span of a gnat, right? It's like I get pulled off into other directions and start focusing on other things. That's why my channel is the way that it is. Why I have so many different game systems on there is because I want to talk about everything. And and then I kind of start feeling bad that I was like, oh geez, I have like 100 videos of Castles and Crusades, and I don't like to do videos where they're back to back the same topic over and over again, going over the same system, let's say, for a number of things. I like to mix it up a little bit, and then I just lose track, and I get to going on something else for half a dozen videos or so, and then I mix other things in there as well, and then it's like, oh geez, it's been 2 years since I've talked about this game, and my subscribers or the people passing in through my channel will start talking about a video I did 4 years ago and saying, hey, when are you going to get back to this? So it was like, geez, thanks for reminding me. And then I try to get back to it. Yes. Yeah, it's definitely a thing. And as a matter of fact, that's what the new YouTube thing is called. It's called Inspirations. And so it utilizes the videos that you've already produced and the videos that got most popularity. And then it'll say, what are your inspirations? And then it'll give me a list of like 5 different topics I should be talking about based on what you have all been really responding to and engaging to. I hope it's I hope that is an accurate thing to utilize. Videos or in writing, I have not done any of those, like making a video, constructing an adventure or a game or whatnot. I know some people like doing that, where they'll describe a game system that they're creating in just video form, and to me, I like things on paper sometimes. So like when I'm writing an adventure, sometimes I'll have it on the screen, absolutely. And then for certain sections, I'll print them out just so I have the paper in front of me so I can mark it up. I know it sounds like I could do that on the screen too, and that's true. It just doesn't, my mind doesn't work that way. I like to be able to, have paper in my hand and actually just jotting down little notes here, and then I'll go back to the screen and do it. I don't like to just fully function on the screen when I'm writing, or even when I'm reading. I really can't do the just PDF thing. That's why I always try to get a hardcover, or a hard copy of whatever game system I'm looking to read about and to work with. And then I still like to have the PDF, because then I can cut and paste sections of it and drop it into an adventure or whatnot. And so that's kind of what I do for both. Hey, James, how's it going? And thank you very much for the $5 US. If you ever played OSR, I would make a fighter based on baby cakes from China, Illinois. Yeah, and but yeah, good to see you, and love watching your channel. Everyone, you should be checking out DM James on YouTube and check out his channel. Check out Decato's channel as well. He does a ton of stuff with running games for Castles and Crusades on his channel, and painting, forget it. I mean, he does the painting. James does a lot of painting too. The two of you, if you're not watching each other's work, you should definitely be checking out each other's work too, because the miniatures painting on both of your channels is just so far beyond what I'm capable of doing. And both of those channels are featured on my channel, so you can always look to see who I really follow and who I like to promote. You can look that when you go onto my YouTube channel and just scroll down till you see the featured channels. And there's a lot of, really cool channels in there, in my, not so humble opinion. I think that it's, without question, they have really cool channels. So, yeah, definitely go out there and check those out. So let's see. So James, yeah, and guys, I forgot to do this. Anyone's welcome to join in. That's not what I wanted. Let's cancel. Join in the chat. So if you want to jump in, guys, you are welcome to jump in. There is the link. And I should have done that earlier. I'm already an hour in and I haven't done that yet. And we're coming up. So I'm only going to be running for about another 25 minutes or so until my wife gets home, or she's about to get home. That way I can see if I have to run out and do any errands. Yes, the life of a husband and father has its joys and its responsibilities. I know I'm shattering the stereotype that we're all incels living in our mother's basements and such, having a wife and kids. So it's, I don't represent the hobby anymore, according to Wizards of the Coast either. So anybody, you can jump in on there. Yes, you're both firefighter bros, aren't you? Or actually, no, James is the firefighter. You are Ducato, the officer, or sheriff, or something like that. Hey, how's it going, James?
How are you doing, sir?
All right. So you are Artyom? Artyom?
Yeah, Ducato, I believe, is the Leo.
So,
and I'm a retired firefighter.
Yes, I remember you're the firefighter, and Ducato is. Yes, we are not the WotC target audience. I don't believe so.
Yeah,
and the thing is that they're not our target publisher either. So it kind of goes both ways.
I stopped caring about Wizards of the Coast about three or 4 years ago.
Yeah, every once in a while. Well, I certainly stopped really buying it. I haven't bought any of their stuff in a long time.
Yeah.
Not since 2015 was the last time I bought their stuff. What was I going to say? I tried the VTT, and it was completely soulless. It was not immersive in any way. I put it up on a video, but it wasn't immersive in any way. And it's like, animate the damn movement. I shouldn't have to pick up the mini and move it over walls, because you can move it right over walls, and drop it down into a room, and you just drop it down in a room. Now you'll see the measurement going up and around the door, but it's like, let me click him, then click there, hit go, and watch him move, instead of just picking it up and dropping it down. I was like, it's so lifeless. and then when you do the attacks, it's not animated in any way. It's just you just see the die roll like you're playing the a Baldur's Gate 3 with that kind of dice roll thing, but you don't see any of the action. You're not moving. Your character is not moving in any way. And I think it's a lesser interaction than what they had with Sword Coast Legends back in 2016 or 2017, whenever that game was out.
I think
and
Dicato's back stream.
Say again? Oh, there he is.
Thank
you for letting me know, because I would be chatting and missing. So Dicato. Oh, he's backstage there.
Look at this, 3 military guys too.
What's going on?
I'm the beardless one. All right. So yeah. I'm like the female dwarf of the group, I guess. Right? It's like
no beard.
I spent my whole life having to shave, so now that I'm retired, I'm just like not doing it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Same. I spent most of my
before I retired, but it was slightly out of regulation. But once I got done, that was like not shaving again.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, for most of my youth, I had a mustache. So, and it's really from like 14 on, I had a mustache. And then when I, went into the Army at 23, obviously I just shaved it at that point. And then they're like, oh, there's a regulation mustache. And it was like, okay, I will wear this regulation mustache until the third person gives me the see Kyle, so I'm just going to shave it off again, it's like, because the regulation mustache was literally all it was missing was the square off, and I was like, it's a little bit too, too much. So I was like, it's just easier to shave it off, and then now at any time that I, go a couple days, I notice that, mine is coming in like a bright red and gray at the same time. And I was like, I haven't had red hair since I was a child. So I guess my beard growth is like my youthful hair, and, mixed in with the old, so it's like, I ended with red and gray, and it's
a lot more red in it, but it's more gray now.
Yeah.
When Humgar was young, he had dark hair, but his beard would be blood red.
Yeah.
So he'd have black hair on his head.
It's like,
when I had hair, I had blonde hair, and then my beard would grow in red though.
Yeah.
If I had facial hair.
But I check out Dicato all the time, getting to what you were saying. I mean, and Dicato drops by my channel and all, and me and Dicato been bullshitting around for half a decade at this point.
Yeah, quite a while.
Dropping in. I think we met making fun of Garrity.
Yeah, that's how I met. That's how I met Dan Bloodworth.
Yeah,
was on Gary's channel.
So Garrity bringing people together, whether he knows it or not.
Yep, exactly.
But I always talk good about Garrity because it's like, even though I might think his gaming stuff is out there, and sometimes I think he's faking, he did manage to keep a marriage together and raise some kids and feed his family. And so, I mean, you got to give it to him in that regard. I mean, the guy is a successful man.
I met him in person. It was a
D&D
it was a good meeting in person. And then once we both get back onto the internet, and his gaming and just his misunderstanding about gaming and such, and it just didn't last more than 2 weeks. It was like, all right, we're right back to, all right, we can't even chat together, because it's just too far beyond being able to talk about gaming at all, because he's just too far out there with his gaming, his ideas of gaming, and it's just not compatible. He
dropped on my channel one time. We had a pretty good time, and then he had to go because You know, when people make fun of him because in his videos he's always driving around, that really is his side hustle. He works at a bank all day, and then his side hustle.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He does Uber shit. I mean, the dude is working 2 jobs to take care of his family.
Yeah.
I think that's very respectable.
Oh yeah, like I said, I mean,
my dad, he'd be called a mensch. The guy's a mensch. He's just weird when it comes to D&D.
Yeah, or Wizards of the Coast. I don't think he knows what D&D is.
I would agree.
Wizards of the Coast, yeah,
because I don't consider anything Wizards of the Coast ever did to be actual D&D.
No, and what he talks about is not 5e either. Like the way he runs it is not 5e.
No.
He
goes on and on about how great it is, and then he's running
Star Wars right now. Star Wars D&D.
Yeah, and he ran Crown and Skull, set in the Forgotten Realms, and then I don't know.
It's like he's running anything but
buddy told
5e.
Me he played a lot of Mecton, whatever that is. Because there's a dude that comes on my channel that was literally in his game group like live.
Yeah.
Boy.
And said, I mean, he plays all kinds of games, but his persona online is Wizards of the Coast or die. But in reality, he was playing like Fallout, RPG, and all kinds of stuff, you know?
Yeah.
So,
he
whatever. But like I said, I respect him. He's a mensch. He works hard. He takes care of his family, you know. His daughter's full grown and got her own YouTube channel, and she does crafts. And so, I mean, he did a good job. He did a good job. He, as somebody who's been divorced twice, unless my wife gets into a bad mood. I mean, I respect anybody who can keep a marriage together for 30 years, raise their kids, whatever, you know, because it ain't easy. And I mean, but my drill sergeant told me as soon as I graduated from infantry school at Benning that I was going to buy a car at way too high an APR and end up married to a stripper. And he said all of us would, and most of us did. So, that's what you do when you're infantry. You know, you marry a stripper and buy a Firebird at like 39% APR. So that you can never pay it off. You know, you're going to pay $100,000 for this car. But
so anyway, James, do you go to any conventions at all?
I have not been to any conventions. I'm a bit of a shut-in, but I'm I'm planning on going to the next one up in Orlando.
Oh, you're in Florida, yeah. So they have
maybe Huracan. We've got some great conventions that happen down here, and I have a whole cosplay uniform for like Death Corps of Krieg helmet and everything. So maybe I'll do that. But
you should. That thing's pretty badass. I remember you showing it off one day.
Yeah, cool. But mostly no. No, I mean, I don't get out to the game stores anymore because I don't drive. Since my accident and everything, they're like, no, don't drive. And I'm not the kind of asshole that would ask my wife to drive an hour to the game store. And then come back in 8 hours and pick me up.
Yeah.
Which means she would spend 4 hours on a Saturday just driving.
Yeah.
So that means my 40K playing and stuff like that have all ceased.
Yeah.
You know, unless I have a friend come over and we play. But
right.
I did recently, it's not done yet, but it's very close, do this trench table.
Yeah.
And Hungar's supposed to drive down and visit, and we're going to play some games. Which this could be used for anything historic. It doesn't have to be Trench Crusade. It could be anything.
Yeah, I was thinking about looking at different types of games to get into. Like I was looking at, let me find like an entry level miniatures, war game to look at. And I'm like, this stuff is just so damn expensive, and it's like, and I campaign for shit, so it's like, it's like I just can't.
There are two I can
Doing
name
that.
for you, DM Bloodworth, that
Yeah.
will definitely do you good. One is Gaslands, if you can find someone to play it with you, because all you need is the rule book and Matchbox cards.
Okay.
That's literally it. And I mean, if you dig through your couch cushions and stuff, you'll probably find some Matchbox cards.
Yeah, I think I do have a fishing box downstairs with
Right.
Matchbox cards.
And the other one is Frostgrave, because
Yeah.
it's miniatures agnostic. You only need 10 miniatures.
Yeah.
And if you play D&D, you already got them.
Yeah.
You need a wizard and then some thieves and thugs and maybe a guy with a big sword and a shield. You're ready to go. You and your buddy can play. And it can be played 4-player. It can be played co-op versus the monsters on the
Right.
table. Or you can, cutthroat each other. Plus, it plays as a campaign like Mordheim.
Right.
But it's incredibly easy to get into. You pay the 20-something bucks for the rule book. You're ready to go.
Yeah. I have
Along
tons
the-
of miniatures.
Yeah, along the same line as Frostgrave, the same guy that made Frostgrave, he made another game called Rangers of Shadow Deep, and it's the same. It's similar, with the caveat that you can actually play it solo too. It
Yeah.
has solo play, campaign play, and it's cooperative. Actually, it's a cooperative game.
Yep.
When you play it with somebody else.
Yeah, McCullough is his name. He is a good game designer. He's done Oathmark, Silver Bayonets. I mean, he's done like 5 or 6 skirmish type games. Plus, Oathmark's just a straight up full on war game, and they're all good. They all play great. They're not hard to get into, and they're all miniatures agnostic. So
yeah, they have miniatures.
Like $30 for a box of 40 Vikings from Gripping Beast.
Mm-hmm.
He's the guy, because you can you pretty much make a whole army, for Oathmark out of like nothing.
Yeah.
So it's not like Games Workshop where you're going to pay $70 for 5 figures and a box.
Yeah.
No, it's not like that.
Yeah. I was also looking at like the things like the battle card games too. And I was looking at the Star Wars. The Star Wars has the new one out. And I'm looking at those, and I was like, it's like $60 for a starter set, for the 2-player starter set. And I'm like, and I can't see myself getting into opening up pack after pack after pack. I mean, I guess it makes for good content on the channel to open up packs. I know those are fairly popular and everything.
You could be like Rudy.
Yeah.
Down in Jacksonville. He's always popping packs and talking.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah, watching these guys. I was watching somebody recently opening up a pack, and he was like, "Yeah, I paid like $1,200 for this pack," and then he starts, it was like a first generation, whatever it was, and he starts opening it up, and I don't think he made $300 from it, and that's only what he was saying. These are what the cards are worth, and I was like, oh, I wouldn't open up a pack like that. I was like, no, I would keep it sealed. And sell it like that. I was like,
he's hoping he's going to pull, if it's an alpha pack, he's hoping he's going to pull Black Lotus.
Yeah. Yeah. He was hoping for
like
whatever.
$250,000.
That's why when I've made a few purchases that I truly regretted, I was always able to get out of them. Luckily, like Pathfinder Online, when I backed that game when it was in beta, or even in alpha when that first came out, and I paid something like $400 I played it for almost 2.5 years while it was doing all of that thing, and you were just, they were like, this will allow you to play this, and then afterwards you'll have a subscription, for another 2 years afterwards, right? So, price wise, it was kind of reasonable. Actually, you're basically paying $400 for 4 years worth of play, so I was like, all right, that's not too shabby, but the game just sucked so bad that I was like, how the hell do I sell this? And then they were, when they finally launched it in like the worst condition, it was set in the River Kingdoms, if you're familiar with Pathfinder's world, and the rivers didn't have water in them yet. All right, they launched with the rivers being all dry bed. There was no running water there was not even stagnant water in them. There was no water at all. I'm like, how do you launch a game with, its environment is not even complete? I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen it. It was a horrible game. And I got some sucker to give me $400 to take over my account. I was like,
Oh wow.
go right ahead. So I played it for like 2 years, in its beta, in its alpha and beta, and then sold it for 400. And I immediately turned that around, and for like 365, I bought Modifius's Conan, the treasure trove, all 22 books, in that Kickstarter, and it was a great exchange. I was like, oh, so this Kickstarter didn't really cost me anything, because that person just gave me, my $400 back from previously. So I was like, so the Kickstarter basically cost me $15 in comparison. So I was like, but
I didn't even know that game existed until because I play there. They have two Pathfinder games by Owlcat Games. One's Kingmaker and the other one's Wrath of the Righteous, and they're actually good games.
yeah.
They play like old Baldur's Gate.
Mhm.
And I got digging around online, and I found out about that Pathfinder online. I was like, "Oh, what's that?" And then I dug deeper, and everybody's like, "It sucked," and
Yeah.
didn't. It
Well,
wasn't good.
that's because Ryan Dancy was in charge of it, and Ryan Dancy was someone that was so opposed to player versus player that but he was kind of forced to create. Bless you. He was kind of forced to create an MMO that had player versus player, but he wanted to pull all the teeth out of it. And Ryan Dancy was like, if anybody doesn't know, I mean, his history in gaming. Ryan Dancy was the mod that was fired from CCP with which was Eve Online, for leaking information to a gaming community there, a guild in that. So he was one of the three mods in the game, one of the three developers of the game, because he was their marketing head, and he was fired for that. And so he came from a game that was so PvP centric, and then came into this, and he was a Care Bear. We used to call him he was a Care Bear, as far as MMOs go, and it was like, oh no, well, you can kill somebody, but they don't actually lose anything, and you can't loot them, and you can't do this or that or whatever. And it was like no point in actually killing anyone then. It was like you got nothing in return for doing it other than bad reputation for doing it. And there was like no positive, coming out of it at all. So it was really, we're a PvP game, but we're going to discourage you from doing it mechanically, as well as admonish you for doing so, socially as well. It was just a crazy, crazy system. But they didn't have enough designers. I think they only had 3, on like actual developers of the game, like, coding the game. They only had like 3. That's why it launched with no water in the rivers. They didn't have enough people working on it. Just a fiasco. Just a total fiasco.
What a disaster.
Yeah. An absolute disaster.
They have something in the works now. I've seen pictures of it for Pathfinder. I don't know if they're trying to compete with Wizards of the Coast with what they're doing. I don't. It looks awful. Like it.
Yeah.
It looks like hot garbage. But
yeah. So anyway, getting back to the original topic, I'm thinking things for the OSR are looking really, really good. Going through the rest of this year, I think that, and independent games as well. I think that having played or having tried to, fiddle around with the VTT, sigil VTT. It was nothing special whatsoever.
That
Literally
describes
lifeless and soulless. It was
the
just,
coast pretty well.
yeah, it was just not
Nothing special.
nothing special. I mean, check out my video, you'll see it.
I
It's
did
like,
watch that. I
yeah,
watched that one.
yeah, it's like, and someone asked, they were like, so you mean to tell me you could just grab your token and move it over the wall, and it just pops down over the wall? I was like, yeah. I was like, it doesn't even show the animation, so there's no animations of it whatsoever. I mean, Roll20 has no animations either. You know what I'm saying? It has animated dice, but they don't even
Yeah.
have that. They just using the dice animation that you see in Baldur's Gate 3. So to me it was like, it's not really that, and I couldn't see how you bring anybody into your game. I didn't see how you could join. You can't look for a game to jump into, at least not now. You can't search for a game. You have to be invited to someone else's game and have their code, I guess, in order to go into their game. So I'm like, it just didn't make sense. I was like, I don't see how you think that this is going to be the future of D&D. Yeah, it's not going anywhere.
Yeah, I saw some video yesterday, some more pro Wizards of the Coast people, but even they were like, this isn't going to take over anything anytime soon.
No, and they're, it's not a replacement. It's not a replacement for tabletop role playing. It's just not, and they shot themselves in the foot by saying, oh, this is not a new edition. This is not a new edition. You don't really need to buy this. It's fully, backwards compatible. And then they, auto dubbing will soon be enabled on your channel. Okay. I just got an alert from YouTube that auto dubbing will soon be on my channel. I don't know what that even means. You can update your auto dubbing preferences. I have no clue. I'm getting all kinds of eBay and YouTube alerts while I'm doing this here. So I'm like, all right, check that out later. So anyway, yeah. So guys, it's been great. I'm going to wrap this one up because, like I said, my wife should be coming home in about 7 minutes, and got to see if I can run out and go buy some dinner. So YouTube wise, what are you doing? You're doing something tomorrow, right? You do the Friday mornings, James?
The only live stream I do that's actually scheduled is Monday.
Okay.
All the rest of the week, it's because I'm painting and bored. Mm-hmm. Like right now, I am currently painting a Scorpion clan for Legend of the Five Rings Shinobi.
Okay.
If you don't know about Legend of Five Rings, it's a kind of a blend of mostly, it's like 80% Japanese,
right,
and then the other 20% is every other East Asian culture.
Cool.
And the character types are divided by clans, and each clan is kind of renowned for their thing. Like the Crab Clan are big burly guys that like to beat things to death with the Tsubos, and the Scorpion Clan, of course, they like to sneak around and poison people and ninja stuff.
Cool.
And that's just kind of the deal.
And you, Ducato, let me check up on chats. I fell behind on chats.
Teresa says, a room full of musk with bearded men holding court.
I'm not bearded.
I think it's because I'm the biggest pitcher.
I have a shadow. That's it.
You got me as the biggest pitcher, so they assumed.
Yeah, I couldn't make it to work yesterday. That was the only thing. We had some kind of a squall ripping through here yesterday yesterday evening. Well,
we got rain.
Afternoon. It was whatever came up from down south.
Yeah, it
you know.
rained and thundered all day here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it rained here
Yeah.
yesterday.
So
Yeah, and we had gusts, kind of heavy gusts and all that kind of stuff. So my wife was like, "You're not going to work." I was like, "I guess not."
All right.
Actually, I was glad I wasn't because they were talking about flash floods around New York City and everything. And
Oh, well.
that's all I need is to have all 3 highways that I would take to come home, flooded,
Washed out.
and then I get stuck there overnight, and I can't stand
yeah, I
it.
remember last however many years ago when New York flood is a mess.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, that was with one of the hurricanes that
Yeah, hurricane hit.
flooded
And it was,
I forget which one that was.
luckily, my relatives in
Yeah.
Queens live like on the 10th floor, so they were like,
Yeah.
but because I still have relatives in Queens, but
Mhm. So entering the room. Yeah.
it's because you made me the big picture, so they assume I must be in
Yeah, I don't
trouble.
know how. I don't know how I. Oh, there we go. Yeah,
Yeah.
I had you as you were the focus.
Or maybe
Yeah.
they saw the Adidas and they're like,
Yeah,
have
or I
I
could do it
wandered
this
into
way.
some
Yeah, I've
kind of
never messed
Russian
around with
thing?
these things to see
There you
how
go.
these
See?
go. I can make you guys tiny, or I can
Hey,
put you on the sides over here. But this
that's
was the
what she
original
said.
one where I had you were the primary on there.
Yeah.
So,
But I figure I'd jump in because
yeah, no, I appreciate it. It's good
you
to see
know,
you. And
say
Dakota, what
hi.
do you have going on this week? What gaming you have going on?
If everything goes as planned, it's a full week tonight. Playing. My buddy is running a second edition. He's been running a second edition Ravenloft module using Castles of Crusades.
Mhm.
And playing that tonight. Tomorrow night, I'm playing with a different group of friends, and I think we're going to play Shadow. We've been playing Shadow Dark. We
Mhm.
haven't got together in a couple weeks because my friend that organizes it and runs it, he owns our local gaming store, so he's been busy with cons and stuff like
Right.
that. So, and then Saturday I'm running my campaign. So for anybody
Cool.
that watches my channel, there'll be a recap within a couple days after either Sunday or Monday for that.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
waiting for a hardcover to come through that I picked up on drive-through. It's actually on its way. It came up from Tennessee, and I think it'll probably get to me by either tomorrow um, or probably by Saturday. And it is 5 adventures set in the Hyborian Age, Shadow Dark.
Oh, nice.
So now I'll have like maybe 7 adventures set in the Hyborian Age.
I
So
backed Tom Wilson's
yeah,
that
yeah.
Kickstarter
Tom
when he was
Wilson
on
has
the other night
Kickstarter.
with
Yeah,
you. I went and backed it.
yeah. That's one of the other ones I backed, and so I have. Oh, that's coming soon, actually. So yeah, I'm
Yeah,
definitely backing that. And then I have these other 5. Then my own was written, in the same Hyborian Age as well.
yeah,
So
good.
yeah, so I have a bunch of that, and then
Excuse me.
Kelsey Dion is putting out the next 3
Yeah,
cursed
I'm
scrolls
backing that.
that are going to establish, the idea that because this is the western region of the world, so she's developing a game world
Yeah,
for Shadow Dark, and that's what
Shadow
the
Dark.
Cursed Scrolls are doing is they're starting to plot out different areas. Because I
Awesome.
started looking at the first 3, and I was like, all right, I can see that this one is a desert, this one is like a jungle region, or yeah, pretty much like a jungle region, and then this one is definitely Nordic, and so I
That's the
was like,
one
all right,
we're
bing, bing,
using.
bing.
Nice.
And then with the next 3, I was like, well, I'm going to plot those out. And when she said those are Western lands, I just flip-flopped them, and I'll see where those go in. And I think overall, it's going to you can start to plot it out on a blank page and say, well, you can do this one first, and then you're going to travel to go here and do some
Yep.
connecting adventures in between. And you could start laying it out, unless she comes out with a full setting book, which I think she's slowly working on doing without
Yeah,
actually
that was
saying
pretty
it.
good. The
Yeah.
little teaser she had of the covers and stuff, and
Yeah.
they looked awesome.
Yeah. Well, those
Awesome.
cursed scrolls are awesome because they do have
Yeah,
they have a hex map that goes with them, and then the adventure
yep.
itself, and then new classes, new monsters, new whatever. I mean, it's a fully, it's a
Yeah,
fully worked
my
out.
Friday night group, we're using the Viking themed one that she did. I don't remember which number it is, but that's what we're using
Yeah,
for
that's two,
our Friday night game.
2 or 3.
It's 2 or 3.
Yeah. Let's see.
Well, I mean, Shadow Dark is basically 5e for people who would rather play older editions, but are more
When
comfortable with
people
5e.
say it's 5e, to be honest with you, I don't see it. I don't see it. Like, I don't see how it's 5e.
It uses similar rules, but the attitude and everything is AD&D.
Yeah, again, like the rules, I mean, so it has advantage and disadvantage, which was not 5e.
No,
it didn't start
5e
with
did not
5e.
invent that. That
it-
started in some other games.
To be honest with you, I just don't see when they say it. I'm like, there's no death saves. There's no
Well, I'm just repeating what.
I'm saying I'm not saying you. I'm saying in general. I hear that. I hear people repeating that, especially people that don't like it. It's Curse Skulls number 3 was the Viking.
Oh, yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
Well, I've never played it, but I ran 5e for over a year and a half back when there was only 3.
Yeah, it plays,
and I had no problem with it. But I
plays
didn't
closer to. It plays closer to basic D&D with just a more randomized leveling up and more attribute bonuses than any of them have, right? Because you can gain attribute bonuses every level if you're lucky enough to roll for them. You know what I'm saying? Or it's every other level, whatever.
So is it kind of like the pundits game where when you level up, you roll twice on a chart?
Yes, that's.
And you get to roll on a chart for a new ability.
Yeah, you roll on a chart. That comes from DCC. If those people argued that Shadow Dark is just D&D basic mixed with some DCC, they'd be spot on. I think they only say
I respect the young lady who did it. I mean,
she was phenomenal to meet in person. Just unbelievable to meet in person.
Yeah, I got a lot of respect for her. She definitely knocked it out in the park. I mean,
perfect timing.
I'm more of a baptism of flame kind of guy, but I mean, I'm also a congratulator, not a hater. So I'm not going to hate on her. I'm going to be like,
there's nothing to hate on her.
Did your thing,
even if even if you're looking at, like, she's a smart business person, because she doesn't play into any of the, she doesn't play into edition wars. She doesn't play into politics. She doesn't play into, she's just about, I want to create good gaming, very similar to like Troll Lord Games and their stance, even though you can tell that one's more socially liberal and one's more socially conservative, whatever, but none of it makes its way into the game.
Yeah, I love the Troll Lord.
That's just smart business, and that's the, one of the most respectable things about her is that she doesn't even play up that she's a female, game designer. She doesn't even play that card.
Nope.
She's just a
because
gamer. She's
people
a gamer.
Actually, she's trying to sell the game to don't care.
Yeah,
that's right.
Like my favorite game artist after Era Otis is PB Breeding. She did all of the art for Taos Atlanta for like 10 years.
Yeah.
And her art is amazing. And of course, Darlene.
Yeah. I mean, I was going to say the two best cartographers in the tabletop role-playing hobby are both women. I mean, you have Anna Myers and you have Darlene. Yeah. You don't get any better than that.
Don't really give a shit. That's something that people who don't like gamers invented.
Yeah.
To try to besmirch gamers.
Yeah. Well, that's why I'm saying, like the people that I see trying to equate, Shadow Dark to 5e are people that hate Shadow Dark, but they want us to hate it too because that's why they say it's close to 5e. And it's like, I don't even hate 5e. I just hate what WotC does with 5e.
5e.
What I'm saying, it's like it's not a hatred of the system, even though it's not the system for me. It's just not a. I think that the system, the way it's designed. I recently said this to Mike Merles on his X thing. I made a comment, and I basically said what it did was it doesn't mesh with what many of the old schoolers felt was the essence of Dungeons and Dragons, number one. And then it attracted, all of these tourists to the hobby that really don't care about the game itself. They don't want to, you have one of the most combat oriented editions of Dungeons and Dragons. 5e is the most combat oriented, and yet its player base doesn't want to do anything to do with combat. They want to sit and chat. They want to.
Yeah, my buddy one of my buddies that I play with, we've been playing together for 30 years. His daughter played with us for a little bit off and on in the game he ran, and then they started doing their own thing. She started doing her own thing with their friends, and my buddy was like, it's like they have no combat in their game. Like, I'll have sessions where we don't have combat, but they have no combat, and it's all just social interaction, and which is, hey, if that's what you want to do it. But it's not, the base is weird. It's like if you watch Critical Role, which I don't, but I used to. But if you go in the comments, like, they're never talking about like the mechanics or this class or that or anything. They don't care about any of that. They care about the relationship of the characters, and it's like almost like a soap opera type. Reminds me of my mom watching soap operas when I was little, and that's what they're into. And great, go do that. That's fine if that's what you enjoy. But they don't like like when some certain person will say that Critical Role will never leave 5e, blah blah blah. Their fans don't give a shit about 5e. Like, they don't care about the cast, and they care about the characters. They don't care about the 6-hit dice fireball or whatever the hell they're doing. Like, they don't give a shit about that stuff.
Yeah,
which is
they didn't
fine.
care about the game system when it was Pathfinder. They didn't care when it went to D&D. They, just like the kids watching Stranger Things. My daughters didn't care about the game in it. They cared about the boys in it. They didn't care that it was Dungeons and Dragons. I couldn't get either of my daughters to play D&D based on the fact that they were fans of, and people don't even focus on the D&D that is actually played in Stranger Things, which was something I said very early on. It was like,
I met one kid. We were running games at the game store, and this one kid, we had a big night. There's a brand new campaign, West Marches, 3 or 4 DMs, and we did the opening night. We had almost 40 players show up, and one of them was this kid, a young kid, and he was shy, and I saw him. He had the Hellfire Club shirt on from the show. So I went up to him, and because I was one of the DMs, so I was like, I went up, I said, "Hey, are you here because of the show?" And he's like, "Yeah, I watched the show. I wanted to play D&D." I'm like, "All right, man, come on." That was cool.
Yeah.
But most of them don't. Like, I watch Stranger Things. I think it's awesome. Doesn't make me want to play D&D. It makes me want to play Call of Cthulhu is what it makes me want to do. It seems more like Call of Cthulhu to me.
It's more related to Call of Cthulhu and its themes and such like that than it is D&D. But listen, what was it, season 3 when they had that? That was with the Munson kid running the games and everything. I think that was season 3.
Yeah.
Forget what season.
Yeah, that was great. That was awesome.
Yeah, that was awesome. I was like, that's Advanced Dungeons and Dragons right there. I mean,
that's what they're playing.
That's what they were playing. And so, all right, my daughter just came home too, so my wife is on her way.
We are making you run late.
Yeah, no, that's okay. She's not home yet. So, but my younger daughter just got home. So I'm going to run. So everyone, thanks a lot for joining in. And I look forward to seeing you guys on a screen sometime soon. And everyone else, Yep, just looking to. Oh, my Troll Lord! I'm getting so many awesome alerts here. So my Troll Lord Games order has been prepared. So that's my memorial, tomb.
Nice.
So yeah,
I was
I
thinking
picked
about
that
picking
up.
that up.
So waiting on
I
that.
need to pick up their Slav book.
And
Trollord's
Benoit,
got a book about Slavic mythology. I need to get it.
I have that book. Pretty good.
Slavic mythology.
Yes, Slava something.
Yeah. Castles and Crusades. I have that.
Yeah, I've got all the
book.
Castles of Crusades with the memorial covers.
Yeah.
I love them. They're so.
Oh yeah,
they're awesome.
Yeah,
They're
That's what I
awesome.
have.
But I also have a first printing of the Castles and Crusades Player's Handbook that I've had since it was released.
Since it was first printed. Yeah, I got the.
I mean, I've been buying it, and one thing I love about it, the game never really changes. They just do a new printing.
It only made one change in 10th printing, that Ward did for changing the encumbrance system, and they also changed barbarians a little bit in that printing. But that's pretty much
I just love that they just fix a thing, reprint,
reformat.
If they need to fix a thing, they fix it and do another print. So you don't got to buy anything, and everything's compatible.
Hey, Peter, how's it going? Yeah, I'm definitely going to touch bases with you, Peter, after Rising Phoenix. So I'm really looking forward to hearing how that went and everything. God, I wish I could go to that. Yeah,
it's been a pleasure. I'm going to take off. Because
I'm going to run too, guys. You'll have a good one. And everyone that popped in, thanks for jumping in and sharing some of your comments. And as always, I look forward to seeing you on the screen sometime soon or at a convention sometime in June will be my next batch of conventions. And you all